I wanted us to look deeper into the director of CIA. So I did a search for what does the director of the CIA do, um, which is here. And I've done it for both. Um, I did it for DuckDuckGo, Quant, and Google, and it had more about the CIA rather than the CIA director. So I decided to try um no, that's not the one. Um I decided to try this D stroke CIA role, and I got a lot more hits. So we're gonna be doing that, and we're gonna be going on this website as well. So what I will do is I will put these away for now. Um, go with my beauties. Thank you. Okay. And you're seeing it in a sanctum right now. Come research with me. Come research with me. CIA Director 1. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to put all these in so you can all tell the difference. But they really didn't come up with much. But if you want to do further searches, then you are very welcome to do that. So right now I'm just going to lock it and star it, and then that will go right to the top, right there. And then whatever we look for will go in this section. Okay, I spelled director wrong. Sorry. There we go. So let's go back on this. Now there's this site, and this site is actually quite interesting. When I first did the what does the CIA director do, this was actually one of them that came up on that search. Unfortunately, it doesn't come up on that search now. So we're going to do that, and then look into that, and then see if there's other things, and just see where we go. So let's do it. Okay. Now we know all about this because we've read about this and we've looked into this. The section we really want is this section here. So I'm going to make this quite big because you can't see it, but I can see it with my new glasses on. And we'll just read it and see where it takes us. Okay. The head of the CIA is the Director of Central Intelligence Agency, D/CIA, who is appointed by the President with the advice and consent of the Senate. In general, the D/CIA has the following responsibilities: to collect intelligence by human sources and by other means, appropriate means. So, to collect human sources, that's probably talking to people, but as well as taking the information from spies, to correlate and evaluate intelligence related to the national security and provide appropriate estimation of such intelligence. So, bringing all the information that his spies and agents and methodologists, analysts have found, to evaluate it to see what's important and then decimate it so that it all kind of joins together to provide overall direction for collection of national intelligence outside the US through human resources by elements of the intelligence community who are authorized to undertake such collection and in coordination with other departments, agencies, or elements of the US government that are authorized to undertake such collection. So he directs where the collection should be of the national intelligence outside the US, so like France and places like that. Human resources, so probably by people that work in the embassies and things like that as well. And other such organizations, so that could be the army, military, sorry, and other agencies. Okay. To provide coordination of the collection of national intelligence outside the US through human sources. So he coordinates so that they can get. That's pretty. Okay. To protect from unauthorized disclosure, intelligence operations, the identities of undercover intelligence officers, intelligence sources and methods, or intelligence cover mechanisms. So he has to make sure that if something goes wrong in an operation, that he can deny, so be plausible deniability. Or if someone finds out about it, but they've done it so that it don't look like they've actually done it, then they can say, "Oh no, we didn't do that." So let's look into plausible deniability, because that's actually a very good subject. So plausible deniability. Okay, political. Now, before we read this, I'm going to say I am not affiliated with any of the parties. Like, I take no sides. I just read, okay? So, yeah. And there's Truman there, being all Truman-y. Okay. Pointing at a map. Okay. Okay. Plausible deniability is the ability to deny any involvement in illegal or unethical activities because there is no clear evidence to prove involvement. The lack of evidence makes the denial credible or plausible. So, as I said before, something could go wrong and then they can go, oh no, we didn't do that, because there's not enough evidence for the person to say, oh yeah, you did this. The use of the tactic implies forethought, such as intentionally setting up the conditions to plausibly avoid responsibility for one's future actions. The term is used both in law and in politics. So let's we go back on the same site. Plausible deniability, law and legal definition. Plausible deniability refers to circumstances where a denial of responsibility or knowledge of wrongdoing cannot be proved as true or untrue due to a lack of evidence. And I'm going to make this bigger because that's quite small and you can't see it. And I can just about see it from where I am. Untrue due to a lack of evidence proving the allegation. This term is often used in reference to situations where high-ranking officials deny responsibility for or knowledge of wrongdoing by lower-ranking officials. In those situations, officials can plausibly deny an allegation even though it may be true. It also refers to any act that leaves little or no evidence of wrongdoing or abuse. So, that's the legal term. In politics, so they're going to talk more about politics than they are legal, but I'm sure there's legal in the search anyway. Right. In politics, plausible deniability usually applies to the practice of keeping the leadership of a large organization uninformed and illicit actions that the organization is carrying out. Let's make that a bit bigger because I'm getting a bit confused. The leaders then have plausible deniability. If they are ever questioned about those illicit actions, in other words, they truly don't know about any illegal actions, and so they are automatically clear of blame. The term was first coined when the Church Committee, so let's see when it was first coined. Change Factory. Accountability and the art of plausible deniability. Ooh, okay. The term plausible deniability was introduced into the English language in 1975 when the Church Committee, a U.S. Senate committee, conducted an investigation into the intelligence agencies. It described a situation where the president was not informed of actions such as to assassinate Fidel Castro, but in the view of the Church Committee was clearly in favor of the action. By not being informed, the president could state that he had no knowledge of the actions. He had a plausible denial. Plausible deniability has been honed since in government and private enterprise into an art form. Well, we all do it at home with the kids, at work with our mates from our club, and sometimes sadly with ourselves. The problem for me is that plausible deniability is a phrase that equates to lack of accountability. There are, however, telltale techniques that we and others wittingly or unwittingly use, created on the base of fallacious arguments that should let us know that we are being offered or are offering is not the whole truth. Okay, sorry, I've got to make that slightly bigger. The technique I have heard most often used of late is the technique of offering a plausible argument while setting up a defensive shield to deny any request to justify the original proposition embodied in a query. For example, a hypothetical reporter might ask, "Have you seen the cable referring to the corruption allegation?" A hypothetical politician or civil servant might answer, "I receive hundreds of thousands of cables into my office every year. I can't be expected to read all of them." This technique, in terms of regular uh, regality, let's get speaky speak. Regularity of use of late has been closely followed by use of a word to attach a clear but subtle change in the meaning to what seems to be a simple, unequivocal message. The reason for using this technique is to enable the respondent to be equivocal at a later stage in their lines of defense have been stripped away. Our hypothetical reporter might ask, "Were you involved in a meeting where the details of the new congressional taxation arrangements were discussed before the budget was announced?" Our hypothetical politician might reply, "I have no specific recall that any details were discussed." The plausible denial has two parts: specific and recall. An alternate answer might have been, "Sure, we had a meeting and discussed the concessions, but I can't remember the exact words in the discussion." Another technique to look for is the omission of information. Look for what is not said rather than what is said. For example, hypothetical human resources manager might ask of a line manager who is recommending someone for promotion, "Tell me about her performance." The hypothetical line manager may answer, "She is always punctual, everything is done on time, she has a very good knowledge of the subject matter and is considered to be an authority on the topic of policy." The inference in the answer is that the person is competent. However, by looking for what is not said, one can pick that this may not be the whole truth. There was nothing said about the person's skills, for instance. Another answer consistent with the first might have been, "She has no interpersonal skills and the quality of her work, whilst good, technically and punctual, has no human element. Her work colleagues are frustrated because of that and it negatively affects the team's performance." By not answering the unasked question, the line manager can move an unproductive employee on through promotion, which is much easier than managing their performance. At a later date, when the capability of the individual becomes obvious, the line manager can be truthful in stating that he told no lies. Another technique often used is to attack the credibility of the questioner rather than addressing the substance of the question. Adjectives and phrases such as minor official, not close to the day-to-day operation, intellectual and cynical are used to describe the individual and therefore lessen the credibility of what they have to say without providing any proof that what they said was wrong. Plausible deniability is an issue for public and private enterprise alike. It is an issue because it leaves open the door to abuse of authority and resources, shifting blame and deflecting accountability. The most serious aspect of plausible deniability is that it increases the level of trust between senior management and employees. Whilst plausible deniability works some of the time, one can't fool all the people all the time. Leaders who duck accountability by using the technique of plausible deniability or other techniques lose the trust of the very people that they need to follow them. They conversely win the admiration of the unscrupulous as an operator. When we lose trust, we can no longer lead. Of that, there is no denying. That was pretty good. So, when these people are like, "Did you do this?" And they're like, "I can't remember doing that." That's plausible deniability, basically. Okay. So let's go back to when the Church Committee, a committee of the US Senate, was investigating. So we've read that about Castro. Of course, the concept of plausible deniability goes back further than the Church Committee. Likewise, the roots of the term also go back further, at least as far as National Security Council paper, which was issued in 1948 during the presidency of Harry Truman. Okay, so what's this? National Security Council Directive on Official. Ooh, okay. Okay, is this a long one? Not really. Okay. So this is the paper, and this was in 1948, the 18th of June. Okay. The National Security Council take cognizance of the vicious covert activities of the USSR, its satellite countries and communist groups to discredit and defeat the aims and activities of the United States and other Western powers. has determined that in the interest of world peace and US national security, the overt foreign activities of the US government must be supplemented by covert actions. Okay, I can't read this yet. Okay. This is for something else, which we're going to do. So we're going to do covert action, and as I've said before, that's going to be after we've done the National Security Act. Okay. That paper notably defined covert actions as all activities which are conducted or sponsored by this government against hostile foreign states or groups in support of friendly foreign states or groups, but which are so planned and executed that any US government responsibility for them is not evident to unauthorized persons, and that if uncovered, the US government can plausibly disclaim any responsibility for them. In modern politics, the term plausible deniability often comes up in discussions of political campaigns. Plausible deniability allows candidates to keep their hands clean while their campaigns or their supporters use unsavory campaign tactics and launch dirty attacks against other candidates. For example, some journalists charged that George W. Bush's first presidential campaign deliberately used surrogates in order to smear Bush's political rivals. By giving these surrogates the dirty work, the campaign escaped public backlash. So, what's this about? Okay. No, okay. Okay. George W. Bush and his surrogates. Okay, he'll probably give me that one first, yeah. I thought so. Hmm. Um, okay. Let's like political surrogate. Sorry about that. Okay. So a campaign surrogate is a term used to describe a person who acts on the behalf of a candidate running for some sort of political office. The campaign surrogate often appears at public events that the candidate cannot make it to, or may simply appear to bolster the image of the candidate in a certain demographic. Some of the most consistent campaign surrogates one sees are the spouses of political candidates. Spouses are able to speak fairly or author- authoritatively on the position of their partners and have the name recognition to draw in large crowds. During the political season, they are often sent off to districts which may not be large enough to warrant the actual candidate visiting, but which are nonetheless important. They may also be used to cover important events if there are two happenings at the same time, making it impossible for the candidate to attend both. Perhaps the most visible campaign surrogate in recent times has been a spouse. Former President Bill Clinton has travelled extensively to campaign for his wife during the 2007 and 2008 Democratic primary season. In addition to having the name recognition, Bill Clinton is in a unique position for a spousal campaign surrogate, having actually served in the office his wife is running for. This allows him to reference his own time in office, stating that he believes his wife would be the best person to fill the role, drawing on positive feelings others may have had for him. At the same time, using such a politicized figure as a campaign surrogate runs the risk of alienating those who have negative associations with him. Another major type of campaign surrogate is a person who is still serving in political office. A candidate who is trying to win a contest battle may call in endorsements from politicians who have favorable numbers among a target demographic in order to profit from their positive profile. For example, in a Senate race within a state, the Democratic governor may endorse the Democratic candidate for the Senate. The government can then show up at rallies, give speeches, and otherwise vocally support the candidate. If the governor has positive ratings in the state, this can help influence undecided voters. Governors make especially effective campaign surrogates because they often appeal to a broad base of voters, transcending party and having the support of independents and centrists. The President of the United States may also act as a campaign surrogate in particularly important elections for his or her party. Tough to win congressional districts often profit most from the intervention of the president, particularly if the president has a high approval rating. This can be an incredible boon for the party. I think they meant boom, as under the right circumstances, the president can influence a number of House races in a given election cycle. Okay, this is the last bit. Still, another type of campaign surrogate is the interest surrogate. Sorry. These surrogates are often high-profile leaders of a minority or large voting bloc. Candidates can use these campaign surrogates to assuage voters' fears that they might not look out for that particular demographic. The most common type of campaign surrogate in this type is a leader of the African American community, white candidates use these campaign surrogates to assure African American voters that they will look out for their interests. In recent years, Hispanic campaign surrogates have become more and more important as well. I think that pretty much explains that. It's someone that can talk for them and pick them up, basically. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Plausible deniability can also refer to a politician's attempt to test the waters by quietly trying out how the public might respond to certain acts. In 2015, journalists wrote that Joe Biden wanted to maintain plausible deniability even as he explored a possible White House run. Biden quietly visited certain states and met with certain political power players without definitively committing himself to throw his hat in the ring. And I'm going to take a little drink. Sorry about that. This allowed the former vice president to evaluate his chances of winning the race without risking the humiliation or loss of faith that could come while trying and failing. During the Trump administration, some pundits have argued that the president took the concept of plausible deniability to a new level. They argue that the president speaks with a deliberate lack of clarity, implying damaging things, but never actually saying them. They believe that the president uses a combination of non-verbal communication, dog whistles, and implication in order to make allegations about his political enemies. Okay, what are you going to give me for dog whistles? Okay. Okay, you're just taking me to your site. Okay. So, dog whistle politics refers to the practice of sending out coded political messages which are designed to be understood only by a narrow target audience. In their literal form, dog whistles are instruments that emit high-pitched frequencies which only dogs can hear. Human beings don't even register the sound. In their figurative form, dog whistle messages can be heard and understood by members of certain groups, but not by the population at large. According to Merriam-Webster, dog whistle was first used figuratively in 1947. That's when a book called American Economic History described a speech by Frank Delano Roosevelt as being designed to be like a modern dog whistle with a note so high that the sensitive farm ear would catch it perfectly, while the unsympathetic East would hear nothing. Merriam-Webster notes that the expression didn't become widespread until the mid-90s. Today, the term dog whistle is chiefly used to describe coded hateful messages. Okay. This is educational. I am not politically I'm not taking sides, and I'm just reading what this says, right? In society at large, it is not usually acceptable to make racist, sexist, or xenophobic statements. That means that politicians who want to make such statements need to use coded language, or to put it another way, dog whistles. In recent years, pundits have accused President Donald Trump of using dog whistles to convey xenophobic and racist messages to his supporters. The president came under heavy criticism when he tweeted that certain congressional Democrats who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total. Oh God, I can't say a word now. Sorry, I've got to use Mr. Speech. Catastrophe should leave the United States instead of criticizing his administration. Trump's tweets, was interpreted by some to be thinly disguised attacks on non-white members of Congress like Rashida Tlaib and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, both of whom were born in the United States. As a presidential candidate, Trump was accused. Oh God. Okay, we're gonna go off that because yeah, that's just ugh. Okay. Democratic politicians have also been accused of using dog whistles to covertly shore up support for white voters. Former Senator Claire McCaskill came under fire after she said that Senator Bernie Sanders might be too far to the left to win with Midwestern voters. Okay, so basically, it's just a way of discreetly saying something that only a certain amount of people would understand. Right, okay. Okay. So I'm going to put these. No, I'm not going to put these away. Yeah, I'm going to put them away and then I can put them in groups in the group later. So let's put you lot in there like so. So let's see what this one says. Okay. The term plausible deniability refers to the ability of an individual to deny knowing about something nefarious because there is no proof to the contrary. For example, plausible deniability can protect people who were either personally involved or willfully disregarded something illegal or unethical if there is no evidence showing they knew about it. High-ranking individuals may claim plausible deniability because they know those who are sever, sever, oh, subservient to them will not challenge their claims. To explore this concept, consider the following plausible deniability definition. Right, so it's a noun. The ability to deny knowing about something illegal or unethical because there is no evidence to the contrary, which goes in with the other one. Okay, and this one gives you quite a few examples. Okay, plausible deniability and the CIA. Plausible deniability is a concept that pops up at various points throughout history. However, it was the CIA who named the concept as we know it today. The CIA uses the term to describe the act of withholding information about illegal or immoral activity from senior officials so as to protect them in case that information becomes public. And I'm going to take another drink. Sorry about that. Otherwise, people expect those in executive positions to take responsibility for the actions of their subordinates. In fact, in Japan, executives have gone as far as committing suicide when a subordinate dishonored their company. Wow. Okay. Hugh Ryan Act. What the? Uh, Act passed by Congress in 1974, sorry, to prohibit CIA expenditures for non-intelligence operations in foreign countries unless authorized by the president. Oh, okay. President, who must first report the operation to the. Okay, okay, that wasn't very useful. Um, okay. Alright, we're gonna read the Wikipedia. Okay. Close. Okay. The Hugh Ryan Amendment was an amendment to the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, passed as Section 32 of the Foreign Assistance Act of 1974. Sorry, got 47 in my head today. The amendment was named for its co-authors, Senator Harold E. Hughes, Democrat for Iowa, and Representative Leo Ryan, Democrat for Georgia, I think that is. California, sorry. The amendment required the President of the United States to report all covert actions of the Central Intelligence Agency to one or more congressional committees. Oh, okay. So basically, the CIA had to go and tell the president, and then the president had to tell a select few people about what was going on, probably because they were overspending. Um, okay. The Hugh Ryan's Act prohibits the CIA from using funds for covert or secret actions unless the president certifies the operation as essential to the nation's security. The act also dictates that the CIA provide Congress with a timely explanation of the operation they are trying to run. The government passed the Hugh Ryan Act in response to disgust shown by both Congress and the public in the way the CIA handled the Vietnam War. The government also hoped that by passing the act, the US could avoid entangling itself in other war by mistake as the result of bungled covert action operations. However, in the decades that followed, the act ultimately proved to be a failure. The CIA learnt how to get around the act by failing to provide Congress with the full picture about the covert actions they planned. As a result, members of the Intelligence Committee became hesitant to ask for further information from the CIA, since they knew they weren't going to get the full story anyway. And that's probably where the black budget comes in, but that's going to be a video for another time. Intelligence Oversight Act 1980. The Intelligence Oversight Act of 1980 is an amendment to the Hugh Ryan Act of 1974. The Intelligence Oversight Act is a federal law that requires governmental agencies within the US to report their covert activities to only 2 of the original 8 committees mentioned in the Hugh Ryan Act. The Intelligence Oversight Act worked to remove the other 6 formerly required agencies entirely. The Act also set detailed ground rules for governmental agencies like the CIA, fully informing those required agencies of their activities, including any activities they anticipated in the near or distant future. Okay. Overconfidence and plausible deniability. Confidence is a good skill to have, especially if an individual is a leader. However, it can also be a person's downfall if it's not careful. Interestingly, when it comes to confidence, people prefer it to be a quiet personality trait rather than someone strutting about, puffing out his chest, and telling you how confident he is. In fact, a study conducted by the University of Notre Dame, the researchers found that their subjects could not trust people who overly expressed their confidence. What the findings of this study illustrated was that people like politicians and business executives and business are more successful at conveying plausible deniability because their confidence is quiet, and quiet confidence is more trustworthy than peacocking. When they say peacocking, they mean like how a peacock fluffs their wings up. You can also say that a turkey does that as well. I've seen that with my own 2 eyeballs. A turkey with his ladies walking around strutting with all his feathers all puffed up. Like, I'm hard because I've got 2 ladies. So, yeah. That's basically what they mean. For example, for a good example of plausible deniability and overconfidence lies in the way President Donald Trump has often used plausible deniability to his advantage. He regularly made overconfident claims about the future, such as being able to single-handedly bring coal jobs back to the forefront in the US. Yet when experts debunked these claims, he simply undermined them as fake news, thereby bolstering his plausible deniability. There's also a lawsuit. Oh, okay. I won't read this because this is. Okay. An example of plausible deniability that reaches the US Supreme Court occurs in the matter of Ashcroft versus Iqbal. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, okay? Iqbal, which the court heard in 2009. In this case, police arrested Javad Iqbal, a Pakistani American from Hicksville, New York, in November of 2001 on charges of conspiracy to defraud the United States and identity theft lawsuit. Following his arrest and subsequent release, Iqbal filed a lawsuit against, among others, former Attorney General John Ashcroft and former FBI Director Robert Mueller. In the lawsuit, Iqbal alleged that, like hundreds of Arab Muslim men recently before him, the FBI only arrested him for discriminatory reasons in the wake of the attacks of September the 11th. Okay, so, and the FBI. Okay. I'm not going to read any more of that, but that was very interesting. So now I'm going to go back to this and we are going to go where we left off and then we'll finish there for the moment. Because I can feel my voice going. To meet the special requirements of work related to collection of foreign intelligence or other unauthorized activities of the CIA. So basically, to meet special related. So if like there's a special thing, then they can collect the evidence that way. To perform such other functions and duties related to intelligence affecting national security as the US President or the Director of National Intelligence may direct. So them two, so the President and the Director of National Intelligence tell him what to do. Okay. In addition to these responsibilities, the DCIA may establish and administer a non-official cover employee retirement system, a non-official cover employee health insurance system, and a non-official cover employee life insurance program for the designated employees. Further, the DCIA shall also maintain in the Treasury a fund known as the Central Intelligence Agency Retirement and Disability Fund. Okay, so he sets up the funds for like retirement and health and things like that, probably for the agents who do the undercover as well. Likewise, Congress has made the CIA responsible for protecting intelligence sources and methods from unauthorized disclosure. In Arabian Shield Dev Co. versus CIA 99, U.S. District Lexis 2379 ND, that lot. The court observed that the National Security Act vests the Director of Central Intelligence with responsibility for protecting intelligence gathering activities from unauthorized disclosure. In order to claim the protections of the Act, the CIA must demonstrate that an answer to a Freedom of Information Act request could reasonably be expected to lead to the unauthorized disclosure of intelligence sources and methods. However, the Director's determination in this regard is almost unassailable. The unique nature of the agency's mandate gives it a broad power to protect intelligence sources and methods. So, to unpack that, so he also has to protect the information that is collected from his people as well. It is the responsibility of the Director of Central Intelligence, not of the judiciary, to weigh the variety of complex and subtle factors in determining whether disclosure of information may lead to an unacceptable risk of compromising the agency's intelligence gathering process. Absent evidence of bad faith, the agency's determination is beyond the purview of the courts. So basically, they cannot disclose anything. They have to weigh up whether they disclose something or they don't, because it could ruin something that they're doing, which is very different from plausible deniability, where they're like, nah. These are probably more, what's the word? More routine things that they're looking into. With regards to the activities of the CIA, the D/CIA must report to DNI. The DCIA may also provide support, administrative and contract services to the Director of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Okay. So the CIA consists of 4 groups: National Clandestine Service, Director of Intelligence, Director of Science, and we're going to learn about that in the next bit. And I don't really want to go through that right now. So I'm going to leave it there. And I hope this was informative for you. And I will speak to you probably in the next video. And I'm going to go back on that because I don't think you really want me to say goodbye while Mega Man is on there. Okay. Bye, guys. I will tack on a little bit more onto this video. So we're actually going to read this part, this page, and then in the next video we're going to do about the intelligence cycle, and then after that we're going to do about the direct departments within the office of the director, and I'll tell you how I found that. So if you go through the PDF, and you will find what does the director of the CIA do, and I managed to find this one. So that's what we're doing. I'm gonna put this up here so we'll put that in Director 1. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to read this. There are a couple of things I want to look up but mainly this is going to be a video about reading. I mean, not video, yeah, this segment, sorry. So let's do it. So that's completely wrong. It should say William J. Burns is currently the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. He serves as the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, which includes managing the operations, personnel, and budget, and acting as the National Human Source Intelligence Unit Manager. The director of the CIA is nominated by the President and is confirmed by the Senate. Okay, now I did want to look at this because you know how we were looking at the law pages and they were saying how he's in head of human resources. He had to do human resources. Well, I thought we'll look into that because there was no real explanation about it. So we've got this one. As you can see, it's been scanned, so you cannot really look up names. So let's have a look and see what they've got. What else? Okay. What's this? Okay. And we'll open it. And there you are. Okay. So this is a Intelligence Community Directive number 304. When was this? 2009. Okay, so that must have been when they changed it, which is very helpful. So now let's put Central Intelligence Agency. Okay. And also let's make this much bigger. Oh, that's nice. Now you can see it and I can really see it now with my glasses. So yay! Okay. So this is about the Director of National Intelligence, DNI. Basically about her role and the Central Intelligence. Okay, so okay. National Unit Manager. Now we can get rid of that. The Director, Central Intelligence Agency, is the NHM with the responsibility to A. Manage the national unit collection capability in accordance with presidential priorities and DNI guidance. So what they are saying there is that he manages the national unit. So all the agencies, he's kind of the head of that section, and he has to do it in accordance with the president and the DNI guidelines. B. Issue annually an integrated national HUMINT plan with associated goals and performance objectives. So, like a review you have at work, basically. A plan, and also like a review of objectives and what the objectives might be. C. Ensure integration of national HUMINT collection capabilities into the National Intelligence Coordination Centre. I think that's the one we were looking up and it come up as another name, but I'm not too sure, so let's take a little look at that quickly. Was established on so the National Intelligence Coordination Centre was established on the 1st of October 2007 by the United States Director of National Intelligence. The Centre's purpose is to give the DNI the means to more effectively and efficiently direct and integrate collection assets and activities of all national defence and domestic intelligence organisations against standing and emergent strategic intelligence priorities. And the Royal Canadian Mounties have a version of that too. So it sounds like a place where integrate all the intelligence that I get from all agencies. Okay, let's go back on that. D. Ensure the most effective use is made of resources and appropriate account is taken of the risks to the United States and to those involved in HUMINT collection operations and activities. So he has to make sure that the people collecting HUMINT are protected and that the and take and understand the risks involved as well. E. Develop, promulgate and oversee implementation of core common standard for clandestine and overt HUMINT, including human source validation, training, intelligence collection requirements, evaluation, intelligence reporting, source description, lexicon, cover support, and other HUMINT tradecraft practices. So he has to make sure that they keep the standard and that he keeps people trained, that they keep to the what that just said. No. Lexicon. Let's see what that means. Lexicon. A lexicon is a vocabulary of a language or branch of knowledge, such as nautical or medical. In linguistics, a lexicon is a language's inventory of lex means The word lexicon derives from the Greek word, I am not going to say that, lexicon, neuter of that, meaning of or for words. Linguistic theories generally regard human language as consisting of two parts, a lexicon, essentially a catalogue of a language's words, and a grammar, a system of rules which allows for the combination of these words into meaningful sentences. So from that, from what I can tell, and going back to this, is to, where were we? Combine all these tradecraft. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Now the DHS have a version. Okay. Management Directorate. Okay. Let's see if this has anything to do with what we're talking about. It's a lot of pages, so I'm not reading this. Okay. Define terms within the DH lexicon. Be plain language and clear. Express only a single meaning and not require additional interpretation. I think that makes more sense. Now, thank you. Acronyms. Okay. Sorry about that, my nose is having a bit of a day. Okay. F. Designate in accordance with section D. So here, effective resources. 9. D.9. D9. Okay, so what does that say? IC elements shall conduct services of common concern for human operations and activities on behalf of the IC as recommended by the NHM and approved by the DNI in accordance with affected IC elements. Okay. So, surface of common concern for human operations. Okay, so concerns revolving around that and activities on behalf of the IC as recommended by the head of, so that would be the director of the CIA's job, and then approved by the DNI. That smiley Carol Smiley lady. Okay. IC components in coordination with affected IC elements to manage services of common concern, including an interagency source registry, interagency technology registry, an interagency cover registry, foreign and domestic, and a lessons learned compilation. So he has to be in charge of the common concerns as said above. So interagency source registry, technology registry, and okay. G. Develop, promulgate, and oversee implementation of procedures to coordinate and deconflict human operations and activities conducted by IC elements or funded by the National Intelligence Programme in accordance with the policy stated in Section D. So let's actually see what promulgate, because they use this word a lot. So to make something such as a doctrine known by open declaration. Okay. Is there any more to that we need to know? The huge meetings serve primarily as the occasion on which to promulgate the official doctrine. Okay. And I'm actually going to try put this through Mr. Speech.
Promulgate.
Can you say that again with feeling?
Promulgate.
Promulgate. Okay. 2. Okay, sorry. That was by Roger Shattuck. From the beginning, our objective has been to develop and promulgate new models for the calculus-based introductory course. Okay, and this one is to make known or public the terms of a proposed law. Okay. So advertise, announce, annunciate, blaze, blazon, broadcast, declare, enunciate, flash, give out, herald, placard, post, proclaim, publicize, publish, release, sound, trumpet. Okay. So and I'm trying to find it, there we are. What was that word? Okay. So to probably release or proclaim. Probably. And oversee. So he oversees the operations and activities by the IC elements or funded by the National Intelligence Programme. Okay. H. Negotiate written agreements with other USG entities. So let's have a quick look at what SUG is. And it's not drywall. University System of Georgia. USG, unhealthy for sensitive groups. President. So Ulysses Grant, President and General, USG, United States Gulf, showing only military and government definitions. Okay, so United States government, okay, Under Secretary General, and yeah, that's not, and United States Gulf of Mexico. So it's probably United States government, to be honest with you. Entities engaged in collection activities that involve the use of clandestine methods, or that collect intelligence through human or counterintelligence activities to ensure these operations and activities are coordinated and deconflicted with human operations and activities conducted by IC elements. Okay, that's a lot to unpack and understand. Okay, so written agreements with the United States government entitled entities engaged in collection activities that involve the use of clandestine methods, so that's hidden methods basically, or that collect intelligence through human or counterintelligence activities to ensure these operations activities are coordinated and deconflicted with human operations and activities conducted by. So this is not to be, so to negotiate the evidence they find and that it can't be conflicted. That's what I'm getting from there. Agreements at the cabinet level shall be approved by the DNI. The NHM shall keep the DNI fully and currently informed of all other such agreements. So basically, they have to have an agreement, and then they can't do conflicting stuff. Deconflict. Are coordinated and deconflicted, so there's not too much confusion. And then there must also be agreements with the cabinet, which be approved by the DNI. So the DNI approves about that as well, and then for that, then the CIA director keeps the DNI informed of the agreements. So if they make any more agreements and stuff, okay. I coordinate with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Central Intelligence Agency to ensure counter-terror intelligence operations or activities conducted inside and outside the United States are aligned. So work together basically. J. Establish such committees, boards or other mechanisms to facilitate human collaboration and integration as the NHM determines necessary. So establish committees and boards and stuff to facilitate the collaboration, integration, and the director of the CIA determines if that's necessary. Okay. that just tells you about that, and then that's the end. And then we've got an appendix here. So when I say clandestine, they mean unhuman or other activity or operation sponsored or directed by governmental departments or agencies with the intent to assure secrecy or concealment. And then when they say counterintelligence, they mean information gathered and activities conducted to identify, deceive, exploit, interdict, disrupt, or protect against espionage, other intelligence activities, sabotage or assassinations conducted for or on behalf of foreign powers, foreign organizations or persons, or international terrorist organizations or activities. So that's what they mean there. Okay. I just wanted to see if no. Okay. So that's now done, and we are going to have fun doing more of that when I do a proper series on the CIA. So let's now finish this page. Let me have a little drink. Okay. Feeling a bit better now. Okay. Burns is responsible for ensuring that the CIA serves as the nation's first line of defense, and that the agency's mission is realized through the collection of information that provides insight into the intentions, plans, and capabilities of our nation's foreign adversaries. Timely analysis of intelligence that allows the President and other senior US decision makers to make decisions, create policies, and take appropriate actions. The completion of covert actions at the direction of the President to achieve US policy objectives and preempt threats. The work of the CIA is accomplished through its core disciplines: intelligence collection, all source analysis, science and technology, worldwide logistical support. And its cores are service, putting country and agency before self; integrity, upholding the highest standard of conduct; excellence, embracing personal accountability through the highest personal standards. So that just basically means be selfless. Okay, the intelligence cycle. It is the job of Burns and the many professionals who work within the CIA's offices of the director to ensure that the intelligence cycle, obtaining raw information and transforming it into finished intelligence or policy for policymakers to use when making decisions and creating policies, is always carried out. The intelligence cycle is carried out through 5 distinct steps. Planning and direction involves the management of the complete intelligence cycle, from identifying the need to delivering the intelligence product. Collection focuses on the gathering of raw information that is needed to produce the final intelligence product. This process may include, I'll read them out, but we've already done these: signals intelligence, open source intelligence, measurement and signature intelligence, imagery intelligence, human intelligence, geospatial intelligence. Processing involves converting obtained intelligence into a form that can be used by analysis, may include decryption, data reduction, and language translations. Analysis and production involves the transformation of basic information, which may be incomplete or contradictory, into finished intelligence that is then provided to the US policymakers. Dissemination involves distributing the finished intelligence product to the consumer, i.e. policymakers. Okay, now we have departments within the offices of the director. The Office of the Director accomplishes its mission through the activities of the following subordinate staff, all of which are called upon to support the role of the Director. And I'm going to make this slightly bigger because my eyes are just I think they're tired. Okay, so we were down here, weren't we? Okay, Associate Director for Military Affairs, ADMA, serves as the principal military advisor to the offices of the Director and acts as a liaison between the CIA and the Department of Defense. DNI Open Source Center serves as the Center for Open Source Intelligence. So it's a center where they have all the open source intelligence, basically. Okay. Office of Congressional Affairs, OCA, advises the offices of the Director on matters related to congressional interactions with the CIA. Office of Diversity Plans and Programs, DPP, creates and oversees programs focused on hiring employees with critical skills and knowledge and specific cultural backgrounds and abilities. Office of Equal Employment Opportunities, OEEO, oversees reasonable accommodations to employees with disabilities and enforces federal law related to equal employment. Office of General Counsel, OGC, serves as the principal source of legal counsel for the CIA and legal advisor to the offices of the Director. Office of Inspector General, OIG, conducts independent audits, inspections, and investigations on internal operations and programs of the ICA, ensures efficiency and accountability regarding the administration of CIA activities. And I'm going to take another sip. Oh, that's nice. Office of Public Affairs, OPA, services as the communication hub for the media, the CIA employees, and the general public. So I'm taking that's where you kind of ask for your freedom of information. Office of Strategy Management, OSM, supports and oversees CIA strategy-related activities. Office of the Chief Financial Officer provides financial services and directs procurement activities for the CIA. Other services include overseeing the CIA's program and budget, defending the budget to external reviews, and overseeing the execution of the budget. Office of the Chief for Policy and Coordination, OPC, ensures CIA coordination, advocacy, and oversight on areas such as CIA policy, strategies, and regulations. Office of the Chief Information Officer, CIO, oversees the CIA's information technology and information management programs, serves as the senior CIA official for privacy and civil liberties. Office of the Chief of Human Resources, responsible for planning and developing the CIA's workforce. Operations Center, serves as the hub for all CIA watches, warnings, and crisis management activities. Also provides off-hour command and control representation for the offices of the Director. Further, the offices of the Director oversees several staff that oversee public affairs, human resources, protocol, congressional affairs, legal issues, information management, and internal oversights. So, we've read through that now, we've had a little look at things, and I think we're going to finish there. And then in the next video, we are going to look into further the intelligence cycle. So I'll see you then, and this time it's goodbye. So bye guys. Keep